There was only Xianxia sitting alone on the wide competition grounds. Many people suspected that he did not have the ability to quickly refine high-level pellets, so they did not struggle and decided to kill him on the ground-level pellet. Granny Rong, if you were to refine a high-grade heaven-level pill, how long would it take? Long Huishan held onto the old granny's arm intimately. Long Perong had also been badly beaten by Xianxia on the stage, but her mood had improved a lot now. She smiled benevolently and said, 1 furnace in 2 hours, 1 furnace 2 pills won't be a problem. In 12 hours, I can definitely concoct 12 pills. That's equivalent to 12,000 points. If that brat concocted a ground-level pill, he would also have to concoct 12,000 pills in 12 hours. Even with the arrival of the pill sage, it would not be possible for him to do such a thing. Perong, you can't let your guard down. It's definitely no accident that he was able to suppress all of you Dan Immortal. He did it with his true abilities. This competition was not fair to begin with. The very high elder scolded sternly. Dad, I understand. Long Perong stopped smiling. Yen Xylan, who was standing at the side, was secretly shocked. She did not think that such a powerful old granny would actually have a father, who was also the very high elder of the Long family. It was the first time she heard that the Long family only had a very high elder, and previously, she was believed that the strongest in the Long family was only Long Perong. Imperial Dragon Clan of the Imperial Dragon Clan are also present, but he is very low-key and did not attract anyone's attention. The Long family very high elder said, "It's that young man. He has a very dense holy dragon aura, so it should be a holy dragon. He's also very strong, so he'll be able to become a dragon king very soon. He looks very young." Long Perong nodded. Right now he was resting, and he had even eaten a few pieces of Hunyuan Dan, sealing the medicinal power in his dantian. He was worried that it would not be enough to concoct pills with the innate chi later. It was normal for 1 pellet to be worth 1,000, but for people who could not concoct high-quality heaven-level pellets, it was a bit unfair. It was just that this competition was just to show off to the Dan Immortal, and the low-leveled alchemist was just to join in on the fun. If a low-level alchemist came to participate in the tournament and clamored for fairness, it would be a complete joke, because this competition was not prepared for low-level alchemist at all. Mistress, you should rest well. Let Master and the others handle the matter of collecting medicinal ingredients. Hua Xiangyue giggled and pinched Xiao Profoundian's shoulder. Xiao Profoundian leaned on the chair, fully enjoying the massage from Su Meiyao. At this time, Lu Zhongyu, Wu Songhong and the others had all left to help her gather the medicinal ingredients. Only Song Ying, Lu Menger and the women stayed behind. Aunt Shenyun, I didn't think that you would be so amazing, being able to get so close to the front. Lu Menger looked at Xiao Profoundian in admiration, because at that time, Xiao Profoundian was just an alchemist. Your mother isn't bad either. If it's a refining competition or something like that, your parents will definitely be among the best. After Xiao Profoundian finished speaking, he sighed slightly. However, compared to the freak in first place, I'm still far too lacking, and the following matches seem to be very disadvantageous for him. It seems like he doesn't plan to refine the heaven-level pellet. Lu Menger looked at Hua Xiangyue, hinting that he should tell Xiao Profoundian some things. Master, I don't know if I should tell you something. Hua Xiangyue was a little hesitant, because he had not confirmed whether the person was Xianxiang or not. Don't dilly-dally. Don't you know that I hate people like this the most? Xiao Profoundian pouted and said, We suspect that the one in first place is our junior martial uncle. Ah! Xiao Profoundian jumped up from his chair and looked at Hua Xiangyue with an expression of disbelief. That guy is mine, junior apprentice brother. Hua Xiangyue stuck out his tongue. It's very possible that he is. Xiao Profoundian frowned. She thought for a moment and then smiled. If this guy is really junior, then I'll let him see how powerful I am. I'm his senior sister. I definitely can't lose to him. This must be kept a secret. Right now, junior martial uncle is in danger. Hua Xiangyue warned. I'm not stupid, of course I understand. I really hope it's him. I never thought that the first time I met this junior brother, I would directly exchange pointers with him. Xiao Profoundian was obviously happy. Song Ying chuckled. But you lost to him, and lost very miserably. Junior martial uncle is truly pitiful. Without the heaven-level medicinal herbs, I wonder how he would be able to enter the top 10. Sighs flashed. She was Xianxia's slave and had been involved with Xianxia multiple times, so her mind and body was already occupied by Xianxia. However, she didn't show that kind of emotion in front of Xiao Profound-Yun and Song Ying, otherwise it would be very easy for her to be seen through. The first person to return to the competition arena was a very young man. He had a proud expression on his face and walked with steps that Xianxia felt he had seen before. This is a holy dragon. If I did not see him alone here, I would not have noticed him. I never thought that this fellow was actually an alchemist, and concealed himself so deeply. Long Shui's voice carried a rare heaviness. At this time, the competition grounds were much emptier, and some Dan Immortal-s could choose to stay far away from them. But Xianxia chose to stay at the area furthest from the front desk. At the back of the competition grounds, there were no alchemists. Because the ground-level pill score is a bit low, we can receive 500 in one go. I believe that everyone will be able to reach this stage and very rarely will they fail to refine pills. I am not worried that everyone will waste our medicinal ingredients. He Peiqing had also returned to the arena. He actually wanted to see how Xianxia obtained victory, because in the eyes of the audience, this was an absolutely impossible feat. Just as Long Perong had said, even if the pill saint came, he would not be able to turn the tide, unless Xianxia also refined a heaven-level pill. Xiao Profound-Yun had obtained a large amount of heaven-level pill medicinal ingredients. She intentionally walked past Xianxia and carefully examined the person that might be his junior brother. However, she could not see anything, but she could feel that Xianxia was not nervous at all. He just sat there quietly with his eyes closed, as if he had merged with the world. Kid, do you really not have the ingredients for the heaven-level pill? Li Tianjun sent a sound transmission to Xianxia. He knew that Xianxia could refine heaven-level pills, but he felt that it was a pity that he couldn't see Xianxia refining the heaven-level pills with his own eyes. Don't worry about me. I already have a plan, Xianxia replied. However, only Li Tianjun knew how terrifying Xianxia's bottomless potential was. Even though the rules restricted him, if he could break through the limits and win against the rules that were against him, then it would definitely be a huge improvement. Xianxia was at the back of the group of alchemists. He looked at his surroundings and saw that the place he was at was completely empty. He had intentionally chosen this place. Xianxia looked at this group of alchemists in front of him and sighed helplessly in his heart. He had originally wanted to try and fight for them, but in terms of refining heaven-level pills, he was probably inferior to these Dan Immortal-s. Currently, these Dan Immortal-s who were refining pills could use most of their strength to refine heaven-level pills. Even when Xianxia used all his strength, he was still unable to compare to them. If they don't use the time acceleration array inside the pill furnace, they might still have a chance. Su Meiyao said, "The formations in this era are becoming more and more powerful. They have improved a lot compared to our era, especially the time formation. Sister Meiyao, if you were to go all out to refine high-grade heaven-level pills, how long would it take for you to refine a batch of pills?" Xianxia asked. He wanted to use this to predict the strength of the Dan Immortal. About 1 furnace in 8 hours. It's easier to refine, but 2 won't be a problem. If I were to use those time formation now, I estimate that it would be completed within 6 hours. Su Meiyao thought about it and replied. From this, it could be seen that the refining difficulty of middle-graded pills was much greater than low-ranked pills, and heaven-level pills had 1,000 points, which was also very normal. The pills were rare herbs, so it was impossible for Myriad Dan Immortal Country to provide too many, but if other alchemists wanted to refine them, they would have to produce them themselves. Furthermore, the refining difficulty was very high, and the time required was also very long. The first person who refined the Hunyuan Dan was the Long family's Dan Immortal. Until now, Xianxia still did not know where this Long Perong came from. He only knew that she was from the Long family. However, from the looks of Long Perong and the others, they could tell that she had a very big background. Long Perong obtained 3 sets of ingredients for high-rank heaven-level S, but the second completed Dan Immortal was much more surprising to many. It was actually a young man who was the holy dragon that Imperial Dragon Clan sent over, who obtained 2 sets of high-grade heaven-level S. The third was Li Tianjun. Ever since he lost to Bai Xiaodan Immortal last time and received some stimulation, he had made great progress. Fourth was that Bai Xiaodan Immortal, she had the same set of high-grade heaven-level medicinal ingredients as Li Tianjun, as well as 3 middle-grade ones. Fifth was Xiao Profound Yun, and sixth was the person Xianxia was very familiar with, Du Hai. Du Hai was not ranked in the previous round, but that did not mean his strength was weak. Furthermore, he was here on behalf of the sacred Dan realm, and had probably collected a large amount of heaven-level medicinal herbs. The seventh was the Dan Immortal from the devil-suppressing divine palace. He had a strong demonic presence. As for the remaining 3 people who were able to obtain the medicinal ingredients, Xianxia did not know them, but he noticed that when the 3 Dan Immortals were receiving the medicinal ingredients, they had an eye contact with He Pei Qing, so he guessed that they were Dan Immortals that had been sent by the myriad Dan Immortal country. Those alchemists who were unable to obtain the medicinal ingredients felt that it was a little regretful, but before they left, they had already prepared sufficient heaven-level medicinal ingredients. So many of them had faces full of confidence, thinking that they would have the chance to squeeze into the top 10. Of the 1,000 extremely high-level alchemists, only 10 would be able to enter the finals. Now, alchemist who wishes to receive ground-level pills, please come up to receive them. After that, I will announce the start of the competition. He Pei Qing said as he looked at Xianxia, because he was the only one who chose to refine the ground-level pill. Everyone had only suspected it before, but they never thought that someone would actually choose to refine a ground-level pill. A single pill only had 1 point, and if one used all their might to refine it, they would definitely not be able to defeat those Dan Immortal who were refining high-grade heaven-level S. But Xianxia walked up quickly. How many more 5 elements profound Dan do you guys still have? Xianxia asked. There are still 3,000 of these. An old man replied. I can only receive 500 at most. Since there aren't any alchemist who can receive it now, can you let me receive a little more at once? Xianxia asked. It's the same for you. Don't tell me you can concoct over 1,000 pills at once. The old man asked in disdain. Your pill furnace can't hold that many, can it? He Pei Qing said. Only 500 pills at a time. This is the rule that was previously set. We will calculate according to the number of pills that you will give us, and when we count the total, if there are more than 10 failures, you will have to leave. 500 then. Xianxia sighed. Many people did not understand why he wanted so much at one go. No one could refine so many at once. Xianxia took the 500 sets of 5 elements profound Dan medicine and returned to his position. The second round of the myriad pill competition will now begin. After He Pei Qing finished speaking, a big-sized man knocked on a large gong, and after a clang sound, all the alchemists immediately placed the medicinal ingredients into the furnace. Even the small amount of heaven-level S provided by the myriad Dan Immortal country was the same, but the ground-level S he received were still the same. Not only were their quality poor, some of them were even filled with rubbish and mud. In a very short period of time, those Dan Immortal S had already entered the state of refining pills, but Xianxia had poured out all 500 sets of medicinal ingredients he had received. Everyone saw Xianxia release all the broken medicinal ingredients, immediately feeling a headache. Forget about refining them, even if they were to tidy them up properly, it would make them feel dizzy. Moreover, 1 pellet each time would cause the alchemist to have no motivation. However, Xianxia was carefully cleaning up those medicinal herbs. He did not feel troubled, nor did he look unhappy. Instead, he was filled with confidence, and there was a sense of excitement in his expression. Although there were a lot of them, Xianxia handled them very quickly and carefully. After he finished organizing them, he took almost an hour, and there were some people who had already finished training a batch, but that was only for the low-grade heaven level. It's about to begin, Hua Xiangyue said somewhat excitedly. If he is really my junior martial uncle, after this, all of you will see a scene that you will never forget. What's going to happen? Wang Weiquan asked curiously. I don't know either, but if he wants to win in this kind of situation, he must use some very powerful methods. Hua Xiangyue said. No matter how I think about it, I just can't figure out how to use a ground-level pill to win. It's only a single point per pill. Even with the pill refining speed he had before, he still wouldn't be able to enter the top 10 ranks. The Dan Immortal within the top 10 are all very strong, and right now they are all refining high-grade heaven-level pills. Song Ying said. Chun Xiang did not immediately start concocting pills, but closed his eyes instead. He did not know what he was doing. Even in this kind of situation, he was actually so relaxed, as though he was not participating in a competition. Whether or not he is Chun Xiang, it all depends on his performance now. Only Chun Xiang can use that mysterious pill refining technique, and now he can only rely on that unimaginable pill refining technique to win this competition. Yan Xilan looked at Chun Xiang with rapt attention, and his voice carried a trace of excitement. Li Tianjun, Du Hai, Long Peirong, and Xiao Profoundyun had all been paying attention to Chun Xiang's location. Li Tianjun knew that it was indeed Chun Xiang, while the other three couldn't be sure. But if it was Chun Xiang, they couldn't let their guard down. What is he doing? Why is the immortal qi suddenly stronger? Yifeng asked in shock. This myriad Dan Immortal Palace had a formation that could absorb immortal qi, but it was not activated yet. But a large amount of immortal qi was flowing in, causing many people to be surprised, because the immortal qi was surrounding Chun Xiang. Huang Jintian knew that Chun Xiang was serious, and immediately went on guard. He was worried that if Chun Xiang revealed his identity later, someone would attack him. Chun Xiang opened his eyes, 2 golden rays of light shooting out. After that, many medicinal ingredients floated up, as though they had a spirit of their own. They combined together. A very powerful divine power, Wu Canghong said emotionally. He was a spirit cultivator, but the god power Chun Xiang released shocked him. This divine power, is it from the Imperial Dragon Clan? Long Huishan opened her eyes wide. She was just cultivating her mind, and that was just the beginning. He doesn't belong to the Imperial Dragon Clan. He cultivated it himself. The very high elder was also surprised. Chun Xiang used a large amount of divine power to control the medicinal herbs to float in the air, and then make them into parts. This required a lot of energy, so he could only absorb a large amount of immortal energy into his body to prevent himself from exhausting too much energy. The people of Imperial Dragon Clan were the most shocked, because there was actually a human that could cultivate god power to such a level, which made them secretly alert. The 500 sets of medicinal ingredients were floating in a neat row, forming a circle around Chun Xiang. Now Chun Xiang did not even need to use that 7 stars treasure furnace. Dewan refining method. Chun Xiang shouted in his heart as the divine power within the divine sense sea suddenly surged out, transforming into 100 magic method furnace. If he wanted to quickly refine the ground level's medicinal ingredients, he could only use the Dewan refining method from inside. Chun Xiang's arms trembled, and multicolored light gushed out of his body. It was a large quantity of 5 elements heavenly fire, but under his control, they entered into the magic method furnace very accurately. The herbs inside the 100 magic method furnace were like a pile of firewood. When Chun Xiang released the 5 elements heavenly fire above, it instantly ignited into a raging fire. It really is him. Only my junior martial uncle knew how to use this technique. However, before, there weren't that many. Hua Xiangyue said excitedly. The others were already dumbstruck. This time, Chun Xiang used the Dewan refining method differently because he used the god purification now. But in his eyes, it was more or less the same. The magic method furnace was transparent, so people could not see it, so the herbs were like being refined out of thin air. They did not use a pill furnace, but could still be used to concoct pills, and even had to concoct 500 sets of ingredients at once. Although it was just a ground-level pill, at the moment the 100 balls of herbs that were burning with the 5 elements heavenly fire emitted all kinds of colors, causing everyone to be dumbstruck. The entire competition had just been enveloped by those multicolored lights, and when the medicinal ingredients came into contact with the flames, the multicolored light within was as if it was released by the sun itself. Different medicinal ingredients released different multicolored lights, and normally, they were all covered by the beautiful light of the pill furnace. The Dan Immortal S present were all shocked. They had been refining pills for many years, but this was the first time they had seen such a method of refining pills. In the past, they did not even think that Chun Xiang would not chase after them. It's so beautiful. No wonder he was so confident before. Wang Weiquan was startled for a moment, and said while exclaiming, "I never thought that refining pills could be done in such a way. Now, it seems that he has a chance of entering the top 10. The rules that originally were very disadvantageous to him are now useless." Lu Zongyu's face was also filled with surprise. No wonder that little girl Xianxia is so confident in Chen Xiang. Furthermore, she said that if Chen Xiang were to participate in this kind of competition, even if he doesn't win, he would be able to use his most powerful refining skills to shock the entire audience. Song Ying was moved. Long Huishan laughed loudly, because she had already confirmed that this was Chen Xiang. "I wonder if Granny Long would be angry if she lost to this kid." Long Huishan laughed. "God power, I never thought that he would be able to use God power so well. These medicinal ingredients were not melted out of thin air. Outside of these medicinal ingredients, there is an invisible pill furnace. This pill furnace is formed from God power. Moreover, it is very stable, and won't let the medicine aura and medicinal powder inside leak out." The very high elder was very excited. His face flushed red. "Moreover, this is the divine power that you release yourself. The flames can also easily get in, and everything inside can easily be controlled by you. I really don't know how he came up with this idea. How come I never thought of refining pills like this before? If that's the case, then I don't need pill furnaces to concoct low-level pills. If I control them well, then he could concoct so many in one go and so many in such a short period of time." Chen Xiang had used this method in the Sacred Dan realm before, when he was still in Ditian's time, so some people from the Heaven realm had long heard of it. At this moment, a few large powers had already begun doubting his identity. The people in the audience area had also started to spread the news. Even those who did not know about Chen Xiang before had now understood if this person was really Chen Xiang, then a dispute would definitely arise. Just by looking at the green dragon demon-slain broadsword, it could incite a lot of big powers to fight a big battle. Divine Saber Immortal Palace, Imperial Dragon Clan, and Devil-suppressing Divine Palace all wanted this blade very much. Chen Xiang still had the Holy Devil-suppressing seal on him, and that was also something that belonged to the devil-suppressing Divine Palace. As for the powerful demons, they were most afraid that these things would fall into the hands of the immortals, so they would definitely fight for them, otherwise it would bring about heavy losses to the demons. Other than that, Chen Xiang also had the Heaven-Earth killing method on him, as well as Chaos Fire token. This brat is truly fat to the point of overflowing with oil. Even I want to snatch him away. Huang Jintian snickered in his heart. The reason why Chen Xiang was taking such a huge risk now was also because he wanted to obtain that divine cauldron. After careful consideration, he felt that the divine cauldron was worth the risk. If Chen Xiang could enter the top 10, these medicinal ingredients would be equivalent to giving them to Chen Xiang for free. That would originally be theirs, especially when they saw Chen Xiang turn these pieces of trash into a large number of high-quality medicinal pills. They couldn't help but wish that their own myriad Dan immortal country would have such a genius alchemist. In the room where the group of immortal kings were located, Wang Qiangjin shouted towards the outside with an ice-cold expression. The relationship between Chen Xiang and the Demon Empress is very shallow. Black Blood Magic Sunflower appeared previously in the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace, and during the Great Battle of the 20,000 Core Palace. The first Prince Hefeng was also struck by this poison. Old witch, I said that you're not young anymore. Aren't you shouting so that others will know that you've been murdered by the super old poison? Moreover, there is no other reason. You are spraying blood on people, and your Fire Divine Palace must have done a lot of things to forcefully draw Fire Soul. No wonder the Fire Divine Palace accepted you, because the Fire Divine Palace itself is an evil force. The one who spoke was Long Huishan. She was currently a female dragon king of the Long family. Having inherited the Ice Dragon's inheritance, her strength was unfathomable and she had enough confidence. Huang Jintian also shouted at the top of his lungs. Isn't the Fire Divine Palace the one who sent the immortal kings to dominate the mortal realm and then be rolled back like homeless dogs? It is said that this was caused by the leader's all-out counterattack, so it isn't strange for them to be making this up. Before they stole someone else, they always found an honest reason to do so, and for all these years, the people who got their fire soul did the same thing. Wang Qiangjin was completely speechless. They had indeed suffered a huge loss in Ditian, losing an immortal king and many good seedlings. In the eyes of many people in Heaven Realm, Ditian was just a mortal world. Even the Fire Divine Palace there was not in a good condition, so people always treated him as a joke. For example, the great elder of the Dragon Subduing School was extremely terrifying. In an instant, he was able to kill an Emperor Dragon Guard, and in addition, he had met the Dragon Emperor before. The Dragon Emperor also knew that the mysterious Great Elder was extremely terrifying. Xianxia, who was currently using Dewan refining method to refine pills, was not affected much by it, because he had already been prepared for a long time, and his only goal now was to enter the top 10 places in the competition. Are you really Xianxia? I am Xiao Profoundyun, the wife of your eldest senior brother Wang Weiquan, and Huang Jintian is also my master. If you are Xianxia, then you are my junior brother. Xiao Profoundyun whispered to Xianxia. I knew it long ago. Master told me about it, but I should be your second senior brother. You became a disciple later than me, right, junior sister? Xianxia replied with a smile. I am older than you, and I have known you for a long time. When your eldest senior brother and I were married, he was in charge, so I am your senior sister. Xiao Profoundyun didn't think that her own junior brother would actually see her as his junior sister, which made her a little angry in her heart. Isn't that just the rule? You became a disciple later than me, so you are my junior sister, and I also won against you in the previous match. I am qualified to be your senior brother. Xianxia replied with a grin. Xiao Profoundyun never thought that Xianxia would still be able to easily tangle with her on this issue, and the big shots from the big powers were all staring at him intently, wishing that they could stab him to death and take away his things. No, I can't accept it. You must be my junior brother. Xiao Profoundyun couldn't refute Xianxia. He could only act shamelessly. Junior apprentice sister, seriously refine the pill, or else you'll be left behind again. Xianxia laughed. She didn't expect this junior brother to be so uncooperative, and had already determined that she was her junior sister. This made her very unhappy in her heart, and she decided to wait until the end of the competition to properly discuss this issue with him. The glow that was emitted by the 100 magic method furnace gradually dimmed and shrunk together. Many people had just seen him release extremely violent 5 elements heavenly fire to burn those medicinal ingredients, but those medicinal ingredients did not explode. This was very logical. Fire Divine Palace and Long Huishan did not argue. If not, Long Huishan would reveal all of the disgraceful things that happened in Fire Divine Palace, causing his reputation to be even worse. It's about to form the core. Hua Xiangyue said, This guy is my martial uncle. The reason he dared to take such risks must be because of that divine cauldron. Every single magic method furnace had the same progress and changes. This synchronization made everyone secretly admire. Now that everyone had witnessed the scene of refining 500 sets of medicinal ingredients at the same time, and without even using a pill furnace to refine them at first everyone was shocked, but after that they carefully looked at the changes in Xianxia's pill furnace, as they wanted to learn from it. Xianxia spent approximately 2 hours to refine the medicinal ingredients. At this time, they congealed into a ball of air, and this ball of air was split into 30 pieces by him. At the sight of this, everyone knew that he had to produce 30 pills in a single furnace. Each furnace contained 5 batches of medicinal ingredients, and under these circumstances, he could maintain his quantity without reducing. This made everyone feel that he was a real pill saint. Xianxia's consumption was also huge, because when he was refining pills, he needed to inject some Creation Divine Liquid S into the flames, and controlling 100 of them wouldn't be an easy task. Furthermore, he would even need to use the God Purification, which consumed a lot of divine power and innate qi. Xianxia used his divine power to compress the balls of qi and slowly condensed them into pills. At the moment when the light was very strong, everyone in the distance could only see a dazzling ball of light, unable to see the details inside. The person who had suspected him of cheating previously was now completely convinced. This was because Xianxia had used the transparent magic method furnace to let everyone clearly see how he had concocted multiple pills in one go. But Xianxia did not use it. In comparison, everyone felt that the other Dan Immortal present could not compare to Xianxia at all, although he could only refine ground-level pills, and that was because he could only make ground-level pills. He Peiqing looked at the pills that were gradually condensing and forming, and felt very uncomfortable in his heart, because with Xianxiang's speed, refining all of his herbs was not a problem. Although it was some abandoned medicinal herbs, but after Xianxiang turned them into treasures, they would still feel their heartache. Even though the rules were not match, Xianxiang used his superior pill refining skills to tell everyone that the rules were not enough to beat him. The glaring rays of light from the magic method furnace disappeared, and 30 high-quality 5 elements profound Dan were quietly floating in every furnace. There were a total of 3,000, and the 3,000 points were obtained just like that. Adding in the time he had taken to process the medicinal ingredients before, Xianxiang had spent a total of 1.5 hours. Xianxiang took the large pile of 5 elements profound Dan and walked forward, then picked up another 500 sets of medicinal ingredients from the old man who had an unnatural expression. In such a disadvantageous situation, to still be able to obtain such a high score, it was all because of Xianxiang relying on his godly pill refining skills to counter, and once again suppressing the numerous Dan Immortal. Xianxiang organized the ingredients, and took a while to organize the 500 sets of ingredients, and he could use this time to recover the huge amount of energy he had lost previously. Right now, he was constantly absorbing the immortal qi, and using his energy to quickly refine it, and at the same time refining the Hunyuan Dan he consumed previously, allowing himself to quickly recover. Just concocting 100 batches of pills at the same time had consumed a lot of energy. He had used a lot of 5 elements Heavenly Fire S as well and felt a lot of pressure in the area of innate qi. Regarding Xianxiang's current identity, many of the big heads could not be sure, because there was no proof that he was Xianxiang. Although his method of refining pills was very similar to Xianxiang, but with such a large world, it was not strange for people to have the same method of refining pills. Although they were not sure, but those rankers from influential clans had decided to surround Xianxiang and ask him about it after the competition. It had already been an hour since Xianxiang had finished organizing the large pile of medicinal ingredients, and at the same time, Long Perong had already concocted a batch of high-grade heaven-level pills. There were 2 of them, and they were all of high quality, and even though he had exchanged them for 2,000 points, he was still 1,000 points less than Xianxiang, and even slower than Xianxiang by an hour. Before this, Long Perong thought that he would definitely get the first place in the competition, but who knew that Xianxiang would actually use such a miraculous pill refining skill? You should be first in the second match. However, in the final match, the rules will certainly be against you. When that happens, it'll be even more difficult, Su Meiyao said. We'll talk about it when the time comes. In short, I'll try my best to fight over that divine cauldron. Xianxiang once again used the Dewan refining method, releasing the 100 magic method furnace, and began refining the pill. Although they were only separated by only an hour, seeing Xianxiang's ultimate move again, everyone was still shocked. They stared intently at the magic method furnace S as they carefully observed the changes that had occurred inside the furnace. Right now, it was not Xianxiang's limit. If he could get more medicinal ingredients, he could refine even more in one go, which was why he had wanted to try and obtain more at once. It was just that Peiqing did not allow him to. In only 2 hours, he had succeeded in condensing the pellet. Like last time, it was still 3,005 elements profound Dan, and he already had 6,000 points. I never thought that Imperial Dragon Clan's little holy dragon would be so powerful. He's now ranked 3rd, and it looks like he's feeling a lot of pressure, afraid that he won't be able to enter the top 10. That's why he's not hiding his strength anymore, Long Shui said. Xianxiang was very surprised about this because Li Tianjun and the Bai Xiaodan Immortal were both ranked behind the Holy Dragon, while Xiao Profoundyun was also a little behind her in ranking, so Du Hai was ahead of her. Has there ever been a dragon in your Imperial Dragon Clan that knew how to refine pills? A very strong one, Xianxiang asked. I'm not sure. I don't have any memories of this kind in my memory inheritance. But I think there should be, because we dragons prefer to eat them directly, Long Shui said. After Xianxiang returned from receiving the medicinal ingredients, he took a look at the small holy dragon. He suddenly realized that this small holy dragon looked similar to the Prince Imperial Dragon that died in his hands. Could this guy be a new Prince Imperial Dragon? Xianxiang thought. If that's not the case, then Dragon Emperor would not have come. He seems to have used some sort of secret method to determine whether or not his son has the potential to become the Dragon Emperor. If the Holy Dragon who is refining pills right now is the Crown Prince, then there wouldn't be any problems with the Prince Imperial Dragon previously. That Prince Imperial Dragon was just born not too long ago. His strength is very weak. The Holy Dragon sitting here is a Immortal Monarch-level Holy Dragon. Long Shui said. Xianxia was concocting pills faster and faster now, which made he Pei Qing and the rest secretly grit their teeth. If Xianxia finished refining those 5 elements profound Dan before the end of the competition, then it would definitely be the Relive Dan's turn. If he Pei Qing knew that Xianxia had such a heaven-defying refining technique, he would definitely set a rule that would restrict Xianxia's abilities. He was already beginning to calculate the rules for the final round. Xianxia arranged the ingredients and started to refine the 3rd batch of pills. But this time was different from the previous 2 times. He only released 50 magic method furnace this time, so he could refine 10 batches of ingredients in 1 batch. If he could control it well, it would save him a lot of strength and might even be faster. Seeing Xianxia reducing the amount of pills in the furnace, some people could tell that he was trying it out step by step, and had actually improved a little during the competition, which was truly admirable. Xianxia's goal was not only to finish refining the 5 elements profound Dan, the Relive Dan were also his goal right now. But right now, he had to quickly refine all of the 5 elements profound Dan's medicinal ingredients so that he could get a high score in the points before he would dare to refine other pills. Reducing the magic method furnace to 50 pill furnaces would allow him to control it without releasing too much divine power, allowing him to relax a little. This way, he would be able to release even more stronger 5 elements heavenly fire and quickly refine the herbs. Thus, his current speed was much faster. At his current speed, he could probably refine 500 sets of 5 elements profound Dan in an hour. If he refines heaven-level pills at the same speed in the future, then it would be too terrifying. Very High Elder was amazed. I have received inspiration from this kid, so I need to go into closed-door cultivation and see if I can create this training method. Long Huishan laughed. Very High Elder, if this brat is Xianxia, I can let him teach you. He is my younger brother. That's not necessary. His method might not be suitable. Even if he were to pass it down to me, I might not be able to learn it. It's better to figure it out by himself. Although it's a bit difficult, it's best suited for oneself. The Very High Elder shook his head and laughed. In just an hour, Xianxia had completely turned all 500 sets of medicinal ingredients into pills, and inside each furnace, there were 60 pills. They floated, and they gave off a hazy glow like the stars in the sky. It had already been 8 hours since the start of the competition, yet Xianxia was able to refine 9005 elements profound Dan. This was probably the shortest amount of time possible for Alchemist S to refine so many pills in the history of the tournament. Xianxia had already scored 9,000 points. The participating Dan Immortal felt powerless, and previously Xianxia had also taken first place in a ruthless manner, and now it was the same, and this second round was actually extremely powerful against alchemists like them. In an unfair situation, Xianxia was still standing as the top ranker with a high score, causing these Dan Immortal to feel ashamed in their hearts. Xianxia took the batch of pellets that he had just refined and went to collect a new batch of medicinal ingredients. After passing through to Xiao Profound Yun, he sent her a sound transmission and smiled. "Junior sister, you have to work hard." Xiao Profound Yun opened her eyes and rolled her eyes at him. She could be considered a rather famous Dan Immortal now, and one that was very strong as well. It would be difficult for her to accept Xianxia as her senior. However, Xianxia's current score was definitely higher than hers by a lot, and it was in both matches as well. Especially in this match where she was in a very favorable situation, and yet she was still being suppressed ruthlessly by Xianxia. She was embarrassed to call Xianxia junior brother now, so being left behind by a junior brother, she could not accept it either. Xiao Profound Yun did not think anymore. She knew that as long as she could maintain her current state, it would be enough for her to perform steadily, and even if she could not get first, she would at least get a good rank. After all, she was considered very young in this group of Dan Immortal. That is to say, Xianxia will be able to completely refine them in 3 more times. According to his current speed and the time he has to process the medicinal ingredients, it should only be enough for 6 hours. Right now, Xianxia was no longer participating in the competition, but was frantically refining pills, because the pills would all belong to him. Myriad Dan Immortal Country originally wanted to take out the medicinal ingredients that had been stored inside for many years, and had a large group of alchemists help him refine them. Looking at how anxious Xianxia was right now, as if he was going to refine all of the ground-level pills Myriad Dan Immortal Country provided. With such a large number of pills, if he sold them all, it would be like selling a large batch of spiritual crystal, which Myriad Dan Immortal Country was giving to Xianxia as a gift. After 6 hours, Xianxia very punctually refined all of the remaining 5 elements profound Dan medicine. He had a total of 18,000 points, which was more than the number of Dan Immortal who were ahead of the first round. The Dan Immortal behind did not have any hope of beating him. As long as he could enter the top 10, it would be considered good. Sure enough, Xianxia started to have plans to take the Relive Dan as he received 500 sets of Relive Dan's medicinal ingredients. The quality of this Relive Dan's medicine is so high, there's no need to go through so much effort to deal with it. Xianxia was secretly happy. There were still 5 hours of competition left, and he wanted to strive to refine more Relive Dan. Of course, he wasn't using them but selling them. As for the other Dan Immortal who were refining the high-grade heaven-level pills, their maximum points would probably only be 12,000, unable to surpass Xianxia. Right now, they could already confirm that Xianxia was the champion of the competition, and he was still as vigorous as a dragon and as ferocious as a tiger, able to continue refining pills. If you can refine 4 pellets in a single furnace, then He Feng and He Peiqing both know that you producing 4 pellets in the Myriad Dan building would cause quite a sensation. If they were to see you refining 4 pellets in a single furnace, they might even claim that you are the great Master Yen. Su Meiyao said, "No need to be afraid. After I obtain the divine cauldron, my master will immediately take me away. I believe in the strength of this crazy old man." Xianxia had also thought about this before. If he had suppressed it a little, with 3 pills in each batch, it would probably not arouse any suspicion from He Peiqing. He Peiqing had lost his Tianshan holy fruit, so they would pay attention to this matter. "They don't have any evidence to prove it's me, so don't worry," Xianxia said. After organizing the Relive Dan's ingredients, Xianxia started to refine the pills. 50 magic method furnace, each with 10 portions just like before. "Father, if he can get 4 pills in a pot, does that mean he's Master Yen?" He Feng asked softly. He hated Master Yen a lot because he was the one who brought Master Yen out back then. "No, because Master Yen's refining technique is different from his, and we don't have any evidence to prove that he is Master Yen, but we will definitely keep an eye on him." He Peiqing kept looking at Xianxia. If this person was truly Master Yen, then it would also mean that he was Xianxia. If what Wang Qiangjin said was true, then all of the major events that happened in the Myriad Dan Immortal Country were all done by Xianxia alone, as well as the matter regarding the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's Holy Spirit Rabbit. Xianxia was already very familiar with Relive Dan. Although this was the first time he used this method to refine a pill, he didn't feel any pressure. It was just like when he was refining a 5 elements profound Dan. It only took him about an hour to reach the core formation stage. At this moment, everyone was staring at the ball of mist with their eyes wide open. Xianxia then separated the large lump of mist inside the magic method furnace into 40 parts. Seeing this scene, the entire audience exclaimed. This meant that Xianxia's portion of medicinal ingredients could produce 4 Relive Dan, and not long ago Master Yen who appeared in Myriad Dan building could do the same. It was just that the people participating in the competition were currently refining 500 pills in one go. Relive Dan were easier to sell, especially of high quality. Now that Xianxia had used this kind of savage refining technique to refine them, it meant that the crashing spiritual crystal would enter his storage magic treasuress. "Father, it must be him, Master Yen must be him." He Feng clenched his fists and said, "Who knows? Maybe the entire matter of the Tianshan holy fruit is related to him. Arrest him and ask him about it. The person who cheated the Tianshan holy fruit back then had your immortal sword in his hand, and knew about the poison in the black blood magic sunflower. It might even be the devil scorpion princess. So why don't you listen to that crazy old woman Wang Qiangjin's nonsense?" He Peiqing reprimanded her with a sound transmission. "But, Do you think that this guy won't have a powerful guy protecting him by refining 500 sets of medicinal herbs in one go? Maybe he's on the scene. If we act rashly right now and the scene is in chaos, then we will lose face. He Peiqing said. He Feng no longer spoke, but he believed that this person was Master Yen, which meant he was Chun Xiang. Junior Martial Uncle is so lucky. If there's a chance, you have to trick him properly. Hua Xiangyue scoffed. With his speed, both Relive Dan and 5 Elements Profound Dan will receive a large number. I wonder how he will be able to get rid of us then. Lu Zhongyu said, I wonder if we can sell him to our human king Immortal country? Please don't, Junior Martial Uncle is very evil. In the past, eldest senior martial brother was heavily deceived by him. Now, eldest martial brother doesn't even dare to do business with junior martial uncle anymore. Hua Xiangyue anxiously said. Dong Chun also told me about this. Wang Weiquan smiled slightly. This junior brother of mine really doesn't recognize any kin at all in this matter. If it's Xianxia, even sending him off is possible. Hua Xiangyue laughed. You guys are regretting that you didn't bring Xianxia here now, right? Hua Xiangyue still wanted to say that, in fact, Lu Menger could do it too. But she did not dare. She wanted to let Lu Zhongyu and Songying know that her own daughter, master and disciple were captured by Chan Xiang, and the consequences would be dire. Time flew by quickly. In comparison to the Alchemist on the competition grounds, they felt that they did not have enough time. Chun Xiang's current rank was obviously the highest at 20,000. Right now, when he refined the Relive Dan, he could get 2,000 points in 2 hours, and the competition would end in 8 hours. Long Perong was still in second place. Just as she had predicted before, she had refined 8 pills in 1 furnace for 4 hours, which was a total of 8,000 points. Li Tianjun by Xia Dan Immortal and the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal were fighting with each other, and then with Du Hai Xiao Profound Yun and the Dan Immortal S, and then with the Dan Immortal S, and finally the Dan Immortal S sent by He Peiqing were fighting with each other. Those fellows have quite a bit of Relive Dan S medicinal herbs. I wonder how long they have been storing them for. I never expected them to be so easy on me. I still have 8 hours to get 500 sets in 2 hours. Chun Xiang was secretly delighted in his heart. Even if he did not obtain the Divine Cauldron in the end, just the high-grade ground-level pills he had refined during the competition would allow him to exchange for a large number of spiritual crystal. In the end, he had no choice but to use half of the longevity fruit to exchange for it. He did not want to encounter such a predicament again, and felt that if he met with the medicine that he liked, he would only be satisfied if he threw a large number of spiritual crystal out to exchange. In the blink of an eye, the time for the competition had arrived, yet Chun Xiang was still steadily displaying his powers, controlling them extremely precisely. In an hour, 500 sets of medicinal ingredients caused the faces of the elders who were in charge of managing the medicinal ingredients to turn green. Especially when they saw Chun Xiang giggling while coming up to receive the medicinal ingredients, they could not help but want to slap him. Although he was the new king, his heart was bleeding as he saw the large amount of high-grade ground level S that were being stored in the myriad Dan Immortal country being swept away like the wind and clouds. If it was given to them to refine, they would at most get 2 Relive Dan pills each. On the other hand, Chun Xiang had 4 pills, causing the price of the ingredients to double, which was why their hearts would ache. It was done. Chun Xiang exhaled, and the 2,000 Relive Dan were completed. It was also at this time that He Peiqing ordered someone to ring the gong, and the competition ended. Chun Xiang refined a total of 10,000 Relive Dan S and 18,000 5 Elements Profound Dan, making a total of 28,000 points. He was ranked first and second place was still Long Perong. The third place was a bit unexpected. It was neither the Bai Xia Dan Immortal nor Li Tianjun, but the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal. The fourth place was Li Tianjun, the fifth place was the sixth Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace, the seventh was Du Hai, the eighth was Xiao Profound Yun, and the ninth and 10th place were the mysterious Dan Immortal that He Peiqing had sent. According to what they had agreed upon, Chun Xiang being able to obtain the pellet that they refined made many people jealous and envious. This was a huge amount of wealth. Some people even felt sorry for He Peiqing, even though he had just become the king of the Immortal country. Alchemists who have not entered the top 10, please leave the stage. Everyone, rest for 6 hours. Then, we will continue with the finals and cannot leave the stage. He Pei-Ching was afraid that Xianxia would leave after getting a huge sum of money, and was also worried that he would be taken away by someone else after walking out of the competition grounds. He naturally suspected that Xianxia was related to the Tianshan holy fruit, so he wanted to capture Xianxia as well. Moreover, Xianxia was currently in his myriad Dan immortal country. As the king, how could he let others capture him in front of him? The green dragon demon-slain broadsword and cultivation techniques on Xianxia's body, of course he would also think of it, it was something that could raise his strength by a large amount. Xianxia sat down on the ground and closed his eyes to rest. Just at this time, the holy dragon Dan Immortal stood up and walked over to him. That guy is approaching in full fury. It seems like he's here to cause trouble. Long Shui said, "If it really comes down to it, I'll make my move and join hands with you to kill him. Then, I'll have your master take you away." If they met Imperial Dragon Clan, Long Shui would always want to kill them. He did not understand why there was such hatred between Long Shui and the current Imperial Dragon Clan. No need, he wouldn't dare to do that, Xianxia said. Seeing the holy dragon Dan Immortal walk towards Xianxia, everyone's eyes lit up. They knew there was hope. They were only suspecting that he was Xianxia now, but they could not confirm it, and this holy dragon Dan Immortal was extremely aggressive. It seemed like he dared to do it because of the Dragon Emperor's support, and he Pei-Ching and the others did not plan to stop him. But they hoped that this holy dragon Dan Immortal would do something, and confirm that he really wanted it to happen. Xianxia sat there without moving, his eyes still closed, as if he had fallen asleep. "Are you Xianxia?" This holy dragon Dan Immortal was extremely direct, and immediately asked him the moment he arrived at his side. Xianxia did not answer and pretended not to hear. He felt that there was no need to answer. "You don't even dare to say who you belong to? What's the point of you living like this?" The holy dragon Dan Immortal sneered, his handsome face full of ridicule. Xianxia originally only wanted to face it silently, but the other party had provoked him so fiercely, he could not tolerate it anymore. Xianxia laughed. "In the previous round, I have already defeated you twice. You think that there's no meaning in me living, but you can't even compare to someone like me, who doesn't deserve to be alive. Why don't you hurry up and die?" In any case, Xianxia had already gifted him a holy dragon for death before. With a certain level of experience, he wasn't afraid of killing this dragon in front of him. The holy dragon Dan Immortal was a bit angry, but he kept his cool and asked, "Are you Xianxia or not? You only need to answer whether I am or not." Xianxia stood up, and the smile on his face disappeared, and he said coldly, "Who do you think you are? Why must I tell you?" Hearing Xianxia's words, everyone secretly perspired for him. He actually dared to say what this holy dragon was. He had a dragon emperor on him. It was possible that he was this holy dragon's father. However, everyone was even more certain that he was Xianxia. This was because only Leader S would not be afraid of dragons, and they would always be at odds with dragons. Looking at Xianxia's expression, he seemed to want to attack even more than the holy dragon. Could it be that you don't know?" Xianxia suddenly sneered, and interrupted him. "Oh, I thought you were powerful, but I didn't think you would have to move your backer out. Although I am weak, I have never done such a shameful thing." The Dan Immortal was furious. Walking in the heaven realm, using the name of the Imperial Dragon Clan and the father of the Dragon Emperor was indeed harmful. Just his reputation alone was enough to scare people to death. But if he were to bring it out now, it would be a sign of weakness. The holy dragon Dan Immortal was speechless. He had thought that the person in front of him would be extremely afraid of him, because the Dragon Emperor was also here. Furthermore, he was a holy dragon himself, but who would have thought that he would actually contradict him like this? Xianxia sat down and closed his eyes to continue his rest. The divine dragon Dan Immortal was furious and anxious. He really wanted to kill Xianxia with a single palm strike. He endured the pain in his heart as he turned around to return to his seat. Xianxia wouldn't admit his identity now, because the finals were about to start. He would be able to obtain that divine cauldron very soon, and if he admitted it now, then something would happen that would make him unable to participate. This guy must be joking. Long Shui said with a laugh. He thought that everyone would be extremely afraid of their Imperial Dragon clan, and that you would answer whenever he casually asked. He should be very inexperienced. Because of his own holy dragon. He is very arrogant, and I think it would be the same even if he was in the Imperial Dragon clan. Xianxia said. This guy definitely thinks that he is too high up in the world, so he won't go into the mortal world to train. His background and the environment he grew up in is what he is destined to be, unless he comes to some realization later on. Long Shui understood these Emperor Dragons very well. Right now it was resting time. Originally they had thought that there would be a show to watch, but who knew that the Divine Dragon Dan Immortal would actually submit? Most of the people present were sure that the pill-refining madman was Xianxia, because there were some astonishing deeds regarding Xianxia's pill refining that had been passed over from Dtion previously. Even some of the alchemists knew about it. At the same time, they also wanted to see what kind of existence this leader, who had founded the dragon subduing school with the slaughter of the dragons as the purpose of the sect, was. At the same time, they also wanted to see the green dragon demon-slain broadsword that was renowned throughout the 9 heavens. Junior brother, don't be afraid. Your eldest senior brother and I will protect you. Furthermore, the king of human king Immortal country is here as well, and Meng Er's parents are also here. Our strength is not bad, so we will definitely not let anything happen to you. Xiao Profound felt the atmosphere become a little tense, because the people around him were all discussing how the great powers would deal with Xianxia. Thank you, junior sister. However, I don't need you to focus on me for the time being. I have long prepared for this. Xianxia replied. Can't you just call me senior sister? Xiao Profound scoffed. Hihi. Can you not call me senior brother? We are all alchemists, and I should be qualified to be your senior. Xianxia laughed. Xiao Profound no longer bothered about this matter with Xianxia, or else she really would have submitted and lost later. She didn't want to be this brat's junior sister. Is Master here too? Why haven't I seen him? Xiao Profound asked. He's here. Like me, Master is a troublesome person, so he doesn't want to disturb the quiet life of the two of you. Xianxia said. We're not afraid of being disturbed at all. With him around, I'm relieved. Xiao Profound sighed softly. Just now, Xiao Profound was having a hard time refining pills, so she only chatted with Xianxia for a bit before resting. Xianxia recovered very quickly. With the help of the yin and yang god blood in his body, he was able to absorb the immortal qi at an astonishing rate. Adding on the medicinal pills he had consumed, he would quickly recover to his peak condition. After about 2 hours, Long Huishan's voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Xianxia, is that you? I'm your big sister Long. Long Huishan asked. Xianxia pondered for a moment, then replied to the divine sense in her mind. Big sister Long, long time no see. How have you been? Long Huishan was only able to send a sound transmission to Xianxia through a large formation with the help of the very high elder. Brat, you didn't even come to the heaven realm to look for me. Do you think I'm not powerful enough to deal with a god of pests like you? Long Huishan's tone before was still very gentle, but now it had become extremely berserk. That's not it. I just want to try it by myself. It's good for me, so I thank elder sister for her concern. Oh right. How is little Ling doing at your place? Xianxia asked. She is your little sister, and also my little sister, so you don't have to worry about her. I gave a dragon pearl to her, and she is currently in a deep slumber while fusing with the dragon pearl. Once she is done fusing with it, her body and other aspects will improve greatly, and the disadvantages of having her strength increased will gradually disappear. Long Huishan said, What about you? Your current situation isn't too good. Do you want me to make a move? No need. Xianxia said, but his heart was warm because many people still cared about him. You've helped me so much. Can't you let me help you? If the competition ends, those big powers will definitely surround you. When that time comes, how can you break out? At least our Long family can make a hole for you to escape. Long Huishan said in dissatisfaction, because she really wanted to help Xianxia. Big sis, just watch. After the competition is over, I'll go look for you after I've dealt with my matters. Even if Huang Jintian was not here, he could still have run away by himself. He did not want the Long family to face off against so many forces. The 3 hours of rest quickly passed by. Currently, there were only 10 alchemists on the wide competition grounds, and they were about to enter the finals. This was also what Xianxia was looking forward to very, very much. At the same time, he was also a bit worried because the rules for the competition wasn't something that was set completely at the start, but rather something that was announced just before every match. This made Xianxia extremely dissatisfied. Before, everyone's performance was very outstanding. Now that we've reached this step, it's not easy. There's still one more match, and we'll know who's the winner. Now we announce the rules of the tournament. Our rules have always been very fair and just, and the same goes for the third match. The third round will be different from the previous matches. We will use a method that will determine the victor in this round. This way, everyone can focus even more on concocting a batch of pills and be able to unleash all of their strength. In terms of numbers, no one could compare to Xianxia, so the third round did not depend on numbers to win. It was equivalent to weakening Xianxia's advantage. In this final round, we will only focus on the quality of the pills. In order for alchemists to focus on refining pills, we will not compete in speed or quantity, but in quality. Hearing this, Xianxia laughed coldly in his heart, because these were all his forte. In this way, it was equivalent to weakening his 2 advantages. If we're just looking at the quality, then this isn't easy to judge. Because at our level, the quality of the pills we concoct will be of the highest quality. The Bai Xia Dan Immortal said, "That's not right, high-quality goods also have peak quality yes." Du Hai said, "However, how should we judge if everyone is refining a high-quality pill together?" What Bai Xia Dan Immortal said was also what everyone wanted to ask. Is there a requirement for everyone to concoct a type of pill when concocting pills? If it's a high-grade pill, it would be unfair to the alchemist who can only concoct low-grade pills. If it's concocted low-grade pills, some alchemist would not be able to display their abilities. Long Perong said. He Peiqing laughed and continued to speak. Everyone, I've thought of the problem earlier, that the alchemist would come up with a high-quality immortal equipment. He Peiqing took out a round plate. In the middle of the plate there was a depression in the ground, and on it He Peiqing placed a low-grade ground-level low-grade and extremely poor-quality pill. He only saw the pointer on the round plate turn, and then it stopped at the word 3. The quality of this pill is only 3. As He Peiqing said that, he took another high-grade heaven-level pellet, which was of poor quality, and with the spin of the needle it stopped at 4. Following that, He Peiqing even had the alchemist who was in the finals inspect it carefully to confirm that there were no problems with the immortal equipment. They tried putting the pills into various ranks, and the quality was similar to what they had expected. The highest quality pills ranged from 50 to 70, and there were a few with extremely high quality pills that could reach up to 80. That disc's index finger mark was at most 100. If it exceeds 100, Xiao Profound Yun asked. The peak quality refined by our myriad Dan Immortal country's 7th stage Dan Immortal has reached the 97th stage, but there hasn't been over 100 of it yet. If there are over 100, then the array will spin a bit more and our refiner thinks that 100 is considered to be the peak. He Peiqing said. Xianxia had Long Shui inspect the immortal equipment carefully, but he did not find any signs of connection with other people, so he was not afraid of He Peiqing and the others cheating. Furthermore, they did not dare because the big powers Imperial Dragon Clan, Fire Divine Palace and the Long family were participating in the love competition. That is to say, when everyone is refining pills, you all can choose to refine your own best pills, and everyone should have the herbs. If not, you can also buy them from us, and in the end, you all have to judge by the quality of the pill, and everyone has tried that immortal equipment. So no matter what pill you choose, everyone should be able to see the results of the test. As long as you refine the pellets that you are most adept at, and raise the quality to the peak, you would be considered an extraordinary alchemist. He Peiqing said. Xianxia secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He never thought that the final round would be so fair. We have the immortal equipment used for that test too. I didn't think that Myriad Dan Immortal country would be able to get it out. There shouldn't be a problem, this is considered fair. Looks like Myriad Dan Immortal country would use this method in the end. I believe they are confident in their 2 alchemists. Lu Zhongyu said, then looked at Lu Menger and asked, Menger, how powerful is that Xianxia in terms of the quality of pill refining? He was once able to refine peak quality S in the Sacred Dan realm, and even two of them. Right now, he must have made a huge breakthrough in the area of alchemy, but he shouldn't be able to refine them all at that time. But if he wants to win, he should be very confident in winning. Lu Menger said. Wang Weiquan laughed. Seems like Yuner had an exchange with Junior Brother, and we'll let the two of them have a go at this. Honestly speaking, I really don't know who should win. On the other hand, had decided to refine a Hunyuan Dan, and he still had a portion of Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredients on hand. The best quality pills Chen Xiang had refined was not the peak quality, but pills that had produced holy light. Chen Xiang was very confident in himself, but the others did not see him in that way, especially He Peiqing. He had racked his brains to come up with such a rule, because if he did, he would be able to increase the distance between Chen Xiang and the other Dan Immortal. In common sense, the pills refined by the Dan Immortal were much better than those refined by the other Dan King S. Especially when the Dan Immortal was extremely serious about refining pills, it was easiest to refine peak quality without chasing after speed or quantity of pills. He Peiqing stayed in the myriad Dan Immortal country for a very long time. He had never seen a Dan King or pill sect that could refine a peak quality, and most of them could only do so by using the Dan Immortal S themselves. Of course, this rule also favored the two mysterious Dan Immortal S that he had sent over. Because those two Dan Immortal S were extremely skilled in refining peak quality, they also had a fighting chance, and two of them at that. Using 12 hours to focus on one furnace of pills, he would definitely not be lacking anything. Previously, everyone had seen how terrifying Chen Xiang was when he was refining pills, but they were more inclined to the way Chen Xiang did it because he was fast, he produced a lot of pills, and the quality was high. The match begins. The gong vibrated, and Alchemist took out the herbs. Right now, they were not in a hurry, because there was no need to rush it anymore. This way, they could truly display their abilities very well. Chen Xiang took out the Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredients. Seeing the Hunyuan fruit and the Hunyuan tree root in his hands, everyone was a little surprised, because everyone originally thought that he did not know how to refine the heaven-level pellet. However, in the previous match he did not refine it, but thinking about it he could understand because he could win even if he refined a ground-level pill, so of course he would refine a ground-level pill and also get a large amount of ground-level pellets. Chen Xiang took out the 7-star treasure furnace. Currently, every alchemist was carefully organizing the medicinal ingredients, and a few elders who were in charge of supervising the competition walked down to check every alchemist's pill furnace, in order to prevent anyone from hiding things inside in advance to cheat. And according to the legends, the pill furnace Chen Xiang used was similar to the Yanlong furnace S refined by Yanlong Z. It was a holy-level dragon artifact, and was many times more precious than the top-grade immortal equipment, but now, he still did not take it out at this crucial point, making people wonder if he was Chen Xiang. Now, Chen Xiang did not need to hide it anymore. It was just that everyone did not understand how the water jar furnace could help Chen Xiang with his foreseeing alchemy. Of course, it would be better to use Yanlong furnace, but no one could be sure if that was the Yanlong furnace before, so he did not plan to take it out. There were too many people who knew what was happening, and once he took it out, they would definitely recognize him. Chen Xiang observed for a while and discovered that the other Dan Immortal S had all chosen to refine high-grade heaven-level pills. Previously, when they went to gather the ingredients, they still had a lot left, so they did not lack high-grade heaven-level ingredients, but to refine immortal pills, 24 hours was simply not enough. Moreover, it was not something that could be casually bought. In order to purchase a superior-grade heaven-level pill, one had to first pay a fee of spiritual crystal at some large pill stores and then wait for the notification. Sometimes it would take up to a year or so to arrive. Furthermore, most powers would not sell high-grade heaven-level pills. This was because it was very useful to worldly immortals and they had the most number of worldly immortals in each power. Do you want to use that method? Su Meiyao asked. The method she was talking about was letting the herbs be refined by hand, which would allow him to better control the quality of the ingredients. If he were to use the god purification in the pill furnace, the results wouldn't be that good. After all, he was pursuing the highest quality. This is the only way. For the sake of the divine cauldron. Chen Xiang said. Only Wang Qiangjin had seen everyone here, so once Chen Xiang used it, he would be able to immediately confirm Chen Xiang's identity. Initially, This was how Xianxia defeated her. But at that time, Xianxia had turned into an old man, pretending to be a mysterious elder of the dragon subduing school. Xianxia opened the lid of the pill furnace and threw all the supplementary ingredients in. Surprisingly, no main ingredient was put in, which made people feel weird, because most of the situations were done at the same time. One of the Hunyuan Dan's main ingredients, Hunyuan fruit, was currently on top of Xianxia's palm. He slightly frowned, looked at the Hunyuan fruit in his palm, and a ball of multicolored flames suddenly rose out of nowhere, covering the entire palm of his hand, burning the Hunyuan fruit. "What is he doing?" Long Huishan said in shock. "He's refining Hunyuan fruit. His pill refining method was originally the same as before, but before it was done in the pill furnace, and now he directly uses the medicinal ingredients on his own body, allowing him to better control the quality of the medicinal ingredients refined." The very high elder immediately saw through it. If Xianxia was here, he would definitely be surprised, because he could roughly guess the principles behind the god purification. "It's actually him." Wang Qiongjin's expression changed greatly, and then he told her about when she went to Dragon Subduing City to compete in pill refining. "This bastard. I didn't think that he would run out of that divine seal array a long time ago and play the part of an elder to fiercely defeat me. I didn't think that he would be the one to defeat me." Wang Qiongjin's face was filled with anger. This little bastard is definitely going to win. The pills he concocts will definitely have a light to them, and their quality has already exceeded the limit. Wang Qiongjin's words caused all the other big shots of Fire Divine Palace in the VIP box to be shocked. They were all strong practitioners who controlled strong flames, so they knew about the pill refining process and the pill light. Xianxia was not someone who could give out elixirs with a single furnace of Hunyuan Dan. After that one time, he had also refined many pots of Hunyuan Dan, but none of them could give out elixirs. It seems like the pill's appearance was coincidental. If you don't have a breakthrough now, I'm afraid you won't be able to obtain the pill's glow and might not get first place. I believe you already have a plan. Seeing that Xianxia was so confident, she must be confident in refining a Hunyuan Dan that could emit the light of the pills. Xianxia did not reply. Instead, he carefully looked at the Hunyuan fruit on his palm that was being incinerated by the multicolored heavenly fire. After a while, he said, "Don't disappoint me." Su Meiyao chuckled. "And you're Yu Yi, sis." At this moment, the competition arena was completely empty. Only the 10 alchemists were here, and moreover, there was no longer the nervous atmosphere from before, because currently the alchemists were competing not in terms of speed, but in terms of extreme quality. In order to allow these 10 alchemists to display their level of power, the competition had even activated a sound isolating array, which could isolate the noise outside and allow the alchemists to have a quiet environment. Right now, they were only a step away from becoming first place. In order to refine the highest quality pellets, they had to use their strongest power to refine pills, and every alchemist had a serious expression on their face, not relaxing in the slightest. Other than Xianxia, the other 9 had all been Dan Immortal S, and some of them were extremely famous. When Xianxia saw that all of the Dan Immortal had given their all, he immediately felt a lot of pressure. He would not allow such a thing to happen, so he chose to use his most powerful pill refining abilities. "That's the only way." Xianxia frowned. The flame spewed out from the center of his palm suddenly flickered with a burst of strong light, after which it erupted with multicolored light, shining in all directions. Seeing this scene, everyone was silent for a moment before they suddenly cried out in alarm. "Isn't that the legendary 7-colored heavenly fire?" It is said that there are only a few people in the 9 heavens who can use the 7-colored heavenly fire. I did not expect that I would actually see it with my own eyes in this competition. It is really amazing. Isn't the Long family's Dan Immortal able to release the sacred fire? He might already be using it right now, and it's even stronger than the 7-colored heavenly fire. That's not necessarily true. The sacred flame is too powerful, and it doesn't mean that it can be used. Releasing it wouldn't be of much use if you can't control it well. But now, this person can control the rainbow heaven flame so well, so much better than releasing the sacred flame. Everyone had heard about the rainbow sky flame. However, they were able to witness it with their own eyes. They felt that their trip this time around had not been in vain. Xianxia had released the Rainbow Heaven Flame, but the other 9 Dan Immortals all felt a great amount of pressure, because being able to control this flame to refine pills was extremely helpful in raising the quality of the pills. Legend has it that Long Perong could use the sacred flame, but the competition had lasted for a long time and the other Dan Immortals had yet to sense the holy fire aura Long Perong released from her furnace. Although the Rainbow Heaven Flame was strong, and was very useful in refining pills, it was currently crazily burning the innate qi in Xianxia's body. Xianxia had already calculated this beforehand, so even if he used the Rainbow Heaven Flame, the powerful 9 heavenly pellets in his body would be more than enough to use up the vast innate qi. Very High Elder, if Granny Long uses the sacred fire, can she refine a pill that can release the sacred light? Long Huishan was also surprised to see Xianxia able to use the rainbow sky fire. She did not expect to actually grow so fast without seeing Xianxia for a period of time. Yan Xilan asked curiously, "Is Granny Long's sacred flame really, as those people say, unusable?" Then, he looked at the ball of flames in Xianxia's palm that was shooting out multicolored light, and said, "Letting out the sacred flame itself already requires the consumption of a large amount of innate qi. Last time I taught her how to use it, she had only released a hair's size, and the innate qi on her entire body was completely used up. How strong was she back then?" Long Huishan asked. "Late-stage immortal monarch. Although she is now an immortal king, the sacred fire won't take long. Whether she can use a little of the sacred fire to refine pills will depend on herself. If possible, this will undoubtedly be a huge breakthrough." The Very High Elder sighed. Yan Xilan was now even more respectful to the Very High Elder. To be able to teach others how to use the sacred flame, his cultivation must not be simple. Perhaps he had already surpassed the immortal king. When Xianxia refined the Hunyuan fruit with the 7-colored heaven flame, he had even injected a special kind of energy from the rainbow heaven flame into the medicinal powder. The powder was a divine energy that had been baked by the 7-colored heaven flame, mixed with the medicinal herbs, causing the quality to be even higher. After 4 hours, Xianxia very slowly and earnestly refined the Hunyuan fruit, and at this moment, he had a ball of mist in his palm that was radiating light all around. He carefully placed the refined Hunyuan fruit into the 7-star explosion furnace, then took out the Hunyuan tree root and continued to use the rainbow heaven flame to refine it, and he also poured a small amount of the rainbow heaven flame into the furnace to refine it. Just as Xianxia had just started to refine the Hunyuan tree root with the rainbow heaven flame, he suddenly sensed a burst of strong fire aura floating towards him. Xianxia was not the only one who sensed it. Everyone in the arena could feel that. He Pei-Qing anxiously took a few steps back, because the feeling of danger from the flame was simply too great. "Is this the sacred fire?" Xianxia frowned, beads of perspiration actually appearing on his forehead. The other Dan Immortals were also moved, because that berserk flame was inside Long Perong's pill furnace. It seemed as if it could erupt at any time. "It is precisely the sacred fire. It is indeed terrifying," Su Meiyao said. "The flame little scoundrel released last time, which means that the flames inside his innate qi can be consumed in one breath." Long Shui asked. "I don't know yet, but it seems that it is much more terrifying than the sacred flame. I wonder what kind of flame it is." Su Meiyao said, "The junior master who taught me alchemy in the past was also able to use the sacred flame. He was different from the flames that little scoundrel used, so the one he used wasn't the sacred flame." Once Long Perong used the sacred flame, his face immediately became serious, and the sacred flame did not last for long. But in the eyes of many, it was extremely powerful, and could be used for a short period of time, which would be of great help in refining pills. Of course, Xianxia's rainbow heaven flame was even better, but it was just that it was not easy for him to cultivate it. As for how to cultivate and master these powerful heaven flames, he had never found a way to do it, and it was said that the majority of it was due to his fortuitous encounters, while the sacred flame was a method of cultivation, but it was not something that anyone could use, because the consumption of innate qi was too terrifying. Even an immortal king would not be able to withstand the consumption. If it was in the past, a cauldron like this would only last 6 hours at most, but now, after 6 hours, no one had opened the pill furnace. It was obvious that it was of high quality, and every alchemist would slow down their pace and diligently refine it. Xianxia had already refined the Hunyuan tree root and placed it into the pill furnace.